Hi everybody, all my followers, be welcome to another video. Right, the video today is going to be on this Audi A1 2011. The engine on this is the 1.6 TDI. Not sure which version it is, but it's not important for now. The issue with the car was dropped here yesterday, and the issue with the car is engine light is on. When the car was dropped, the glow plug light was also on. I've turned it off, restarted it, engine light came back on straight away, glow plug light stayed off. Issue with the car: has no power, no boost, and it smokes a bit, I was told. I haven't seen the smoke, to be fair with you, but yeah, that's what I was told. What was done onto this? Wow. Right, it had a new engine, so I'm guessing new means used, and it had a new turbo. New turbo, new, does that mean new, or is it used as well? I don't know. And what was told is that the problem stayed the same. So was the engine and the turbo changed already in an attempt to fix this problem? I'm not 100% sure. So nevertheless, we are going to give a scan. Well, first of all, let's go and open the bonnet and have a look underneath the bonnet. Right, I haven't seen these yesterday, but what the heck has been going on here? This is blown. This looks good. Interesting. Okay, nevertheless, it's gonna get under this bonnet and see what we can find. Right. Yeah, okay. What the heck's going on here? Right. Right, let's gonna do a quick inspection on this and go from there, really. Okay, first of all, I do apologize. The weather is really, there's no sunlight at all, so it's a little bit difficult to see around here. So quick inspection, found the cover of that thing, is there. So yeah, that's not in a very good shape, not gonna lie. This first fuse here is half broken. It's difficult to see, but it's not really make proper. I mean, it is making contact, but it's I don't know. It doesn't look very good. Turbo is definitely new. Look at that, really shiny. The turbo is definitely new. Well, new or refurbished, whatever. But it looks like everything is clean, and yeah, it is new. The engine obviously is not new, but I was told was replaced for some reason, so I'm gonna believe them, I guess. That's the only thing I can say. That's all, really. So I think at this moment the probably wise thing to do is to go look at some trouble codes and see what we have in there. Okay, I was trying to see which engine is on this, but someone ripped the seal. Good, the battery looks like a new battery by the looks of it. Someone forgot to put this under this thingy. Oh well, but yeah, someone got rid of that, which is not very good. But I think the engine on this is going to be the CAYC. Okay, so good that. Right, so let's gonna give you a scan, start it up, see what we have. Okay, just before we do it, right, because they say the engine has been swapped over, we are going to assume that this is the correct engine for this car. On the cover, looks like it is, as you can see in there, CAY. So, but the cover could be from the old engine. I just don't know. So we're gonna assume that is a car see the engine code. I don't even know where the engine code should be stamped on here. I'm just randomly looking, to be fair with you. So yeah, it'll be in there. That ledge maybe. It's gonna give you a scan. Am I ready? Pretty much loaded on the main menu. So I'm not gonna do an auto scan. I just want to go to control unit, engine, and our turbo codes are going to be even if not present at the moment, they're going to be the trouble codes from yesterday, I guess. There we go. So, turbocharged boost control position sensor circuit, range and performance, exhaust gas temperature sensor circuit, range and performance. Okay, we're only left with 2 codes, which is not too bad. So, this turbocharged position sensor circuit, is this going to be because the top sensor for the position, for the turbo sensor, for the turbo position is not in the correct position? If you guys remember, we had that on this video here. Will it be this the same? As for the gas temperature sensor circuit, bank 1 sensor 3. Man, how many sensors does this has? Man, how many sensors does this have? Man, 3. I can see at least 1, which I believe is right there. So I think that's the connector for one of the sensors. There is definitely another one at the bottom after the catalytic converter. And are we gonna have another one then? Where are we gonna have another one then? Sorry guys for being here, just going through this. I guess we're gonna have another one, which is gonna be probably that brown plug right there at the back. I think that is gonna be for after, well, either after or before our DPF. That's our DPF sensor in there. I can't really focus with this, can I? Okay, so that's the DPF sensor. Then that brown plug, I'm gonna guess it's gonna be for some sort of temperature sensor, maybe. We might gonna have to lift the car up a little bit. And then I definitely do have a sensor there. What's that in there? Is that another sensor? So that's the O2 sensor. Is that another O2? It's difficult to see from here. Right, enough mumbling and whatever. We'll figure out that later. Let's gonna focus on one thing at a time. So let's gonna see. Let's gonna see if you have any. Sorry guys, any freeze frame, any data. Okay, so. Well, I guess, I'm not sure if this is going to be based on the data, on the date on the car, which I'm not even sure. Which I'm not sure if this is going to be correct. Okay, so that makes sense because the date on the car is set to 30. So today is saying it's 30. So 21st, so that would have been some time ago. 3 days ago. No, 9 days ago. Engine speed, so The engine was not running at that time. $10 that was low. Outside their temperature, engine was not running. So what was the actually? Okay, so it shows me all of these, but it doesn't show me the actually temperatures that was showing. Active and start. Okay, anyway, it's gonna check that one. Was that on the same date? Yeah, it was on the same date. So that was when the fault was locked in, I guess, and it's never been cleared after that. So it's just recorded. So that's a idling, coolant temperature, four 485, 498. Okay, I'm not going to go through these values at the moment. I just want to go back. I'm interested. I'm not going to clear these codes yet. I'm going to see what my temperature is on my exhaust sensor number 3. I haven't started the engine today. It's been off since yesterday, so actually let me go here. Man, 7 minutes on this. Exhaust temperature 1 bank 1 20. Where's number 3? Hey, what is number 3? Really? Gonna go back to this fault. What's that? Exhaust gas, temperature sensor, bank 1 sensor 3. Really? And then I don't have that sensor on my live data. That's really strange. Let me look for temperature. Okay, coolant, air, exhaust, outside temperature, sensor, control module, fuel temperature. What the heck's going on here? That's strange. Okay, let me stop. 9 minutes already and I'm not even... Okay, let me go through this live data properly and see what we find. I'm a little bit puzzled with this sensor. Not really sure at the moment. But let's now look at the turbo. So let me load the stuff for the turbo and we'll start the engine and we'll see what we have. Okay, so I've done a little bit of investigation. I had the car running already, by the way, and no, I can't see the car smoking at all. So not really sure why they said it's smoking. I can't see it unless it's smoking when it gets into limp mode and there is no boost. Well, all that good stuff. Now that sensor number 3 indeed to me is the sensor after the DPF. I'm not gonna focus on that just yet, although I can't find the live data for it. But even more interestingly is I can't find. So I wanted to see if that turbo position problem is because the sensor in the turbo or the turbo is not adjusted correctly and it's getting outside of these values that have been already kind of sort of set up. So that's going to be when it's fully closed, fully open, that's those voltage. But I can't find the actually live reading date value of the sensor. I can't find it. I've been everywhere here on live data and I just can't find it. So I don't know if this is because the Maxis is is a fluke on the MaxiSys and doesn't have that. I'm not 100% sure, so I think what I'm gonna do quickly is just get a I'm not gonna connect all this, I'm just gonna get VCDS, see if there's anything there that's gonna help us, and we'll go from there really. Okay, I might gonna have to go back on the MaxiSys because I found the values here quite quickly, so maybe I was looking for the wrong, or I didn't look properly maybe. So I actually found that sensor number 3, so you can see in there, and it's reading 1000 degrees pretty much, if I'm reading the right sensor. I believe it's going to be that one in there. And I found the turbocharger, so I was looking for turbocharger, and it actually comes up as a high pressure turbocharger. Anyway, but as you can see, this is the actual value of the position sensor. Okay, there we go, voltage, BPA, and then you have BPA tall, BPA ball, so which is the maximum and the lowest, and as you can see, just like that, is already out of range. So I don't know if we can do some sort of learning on this and try to see if the value gets to where it should be. But yeah, what we're gonna have to do first is I'm gonna go to see if there's any sort of learning we can do, and then if it's still out, then we're gonna have to adjust these to the correct values. So let's gonna see if there is anything. If there is, we'll do it, and then we'll proceed from there. Okay, then the adaptation and their basic settings, but still the same. I was just about to clear the codes, and it's interesting that VCDS gives a little bit more info than the MaxiSys, to be honest. So on the turbocharger, it actually tells you then down here all the live data, which is very, very good. Okay, and also on the temperature on the sensor, as you can see, it actually shows you down here all the values, including the one I've just showed you earlier at 9999. Another thing that I've noticed is now that I have the car running for about, I don't know, while doing the adaptation for about 5 minutes, the radiator fan is running all the time. I don't know if it's anything to do with the sensor, perhaps. I don't know if it is or not, but we'll have to have a look at that later. I would just like to get the turbo sorted first. So what I'm going to do is we're going to clear these codes. We already know what the codes are. I'm going to clear these codes. No fault codes found. Ignition off. I'm going to start the car again. It's gonna refresh this. Oh, you can't refresh here, can you? Let's read the codes again. No fault codes found. Let me just no fault codes found. We can definitely hear the turbo spinning a little bit more than was before. I guess that value is gonna still. Oh no, actually, look at that. So now we have turbo. So this is actually good. So this is the position of the turbo. So he's gone. And he's gone into limp mode. We don't have engine light, we just have that. So let me just have a quick look. Which fault came back first, which is gonna be, oh, is the turbo position sensor circuit. Okay, that was at 1.4, so it was not out. Right, so let's gonna adjust that sensor, so we get this in the right values, which was a 1 point something volts, wasn't it? And the minimum was 0. Unless it's because was not close enough of the correct value, so it was a 1.450, Yeah, and the minimum should be 0.498. So obviously this is the minimum, is already too high. So when when the turbo is gonna close, the value is gonna go to 4.2, which is gonna be above that most likely, and that's why it's faulting in that way. So let's gonna do some adjustments onto this. Let's gonna get to the engine, turn these off before it gets too warm, and I will carry on from there. Okay, so I got this intake out here just so we could get to the bolts there, those 3 bolts, and once you loosen those bolts, the wall thing moves there like this, so that should give us our adjustment. And now I'm going to try to put this to record the screen. Don't know if it's going to be possible. We'll do our best. Okay, just like you're not gonna be able. Hold on a second, guys. Okay, so I think you can see, so the last value is actually the real position, and that should be our maximum and our minimum. And what you're gonna see is that when I move these wall assemble up and down, that value changes. Okay, can you see that? So it goes all the way up to 4.6, and you remember was it 4.2 or something like that before. But look what happens when I push it all the way down. There we go, it goes below the 4.199 at the top. So we're going to try to secure this into that position, which I'm going to do now. I'm gonna secure it that lowest position, which is I'm gonna try to keep on the 4 volts somewhere there. Okay, there's 1 bolt left, but that one doesn't really. There we go. So as you can see now, there's 1 bolt left to do, but it shouldn't change the value now. So it's within those parameters. So we just need to see now when it goes open, when it drops, or when it closes actually. If it doesn't go, if it goes closer to the 0.5 or 0.498 volts. So I'm just going to temporarily put everything back on, and then we'll have another go at it inside the car, see what it does. Okay, so we now are going to clear the faults. Now if you remember guys, before I've cleared the codes, started the car, let it idle, and a few seconds later the code came back on, etc. So codes are cleared. We're going to go back. I'm going to just cycle the ignition. We'll leave it off for a few seconds. Okay, let's gonna turn the ignition on. Now we're gonna load the live data again. Okay. So 131 should be right. So let's gonna start it. It's a 1 2 1 3. So it used to be a 1 4 if you remember. Now let it to idle here a little bit and see what happens. I can definitely hear the turbo spooling, not spooling, just running. And you can hear that kind of sort of when it goes into limp mode, that noise stops because it stops the turbo. And we have the same fault again. Okay, so same problem. That's what makes the lights a flash, and we got into the same issue. So that's strange now, because my values are now correct. Shall we try to do a adaptation again now that we have these within the correct values? It might worth a try. Okay, and forget about learnings, about adaptations. That would never work now that I know exactly what is wrong. Right, what's going on here? So this is like over a week later. I had some clips from last Saturday. I've been here reviewing them just before I start recording now, and I decided they no longer make sense. I mean, they did make sense, but not anymore for what we're going to be doing now. By the way, if you guys are expecting to see a fix, we're not going to fix it. You will understand why in a minute. Even though I know exactly what is wrong. And that's why I'm still want to do something with this video, because it might be that it helps someone out there, and that's all this channel is about. So let me explain you first why there's a week we haven't touched this. To start with is half term. For you guys that don't know what that is a week here in the UK where the kids are off school in this time before the Halloween. And we decided to plan some stuff with the girls, etc. But also because I lost the interest after what happened over the weekend. So last Saturday, I actually figured out exactly what is wrong with this, and I will show you in a minute what is wrong with this. But basically, okay, actually, let me show you what's wrong with this, and then I will explain you why we're not going to fix this. So, last week, after everything we've done up to now, I was really puzzled, and I spoke with Alex, which is a guy that has a YouTube channel. I'm going to leave a link in the description below to his channel, and he does have one of these cars. I think the one he has is the A3, but with the same engine. And I asked him, and I've asked him to look on his car to see what values he was getting. When I show him some of the pictures, I took some screenshots of the videos I was doing, and I show him, and he started to tell me that he was under the impression my voltages were wrong, and but was only when he actually plugged a vacuum into his car and would look at the values. He sent me pictures of his values. Was only then that I understood exactly what was wrong with this. On top of that, also Elder from, well, I already mentioned Elder on some of my videos. He came here to bring me, let me see if I show you, to bring me this board. To bring me this board to repair. Some transistors over there are gone. I already removed them, so I'm waiting for the spares. There it is. These are the bad ones. Nothing to do with this video. Anyway, he brought me this, and just before he came, I asked him, and he was adamant that he had an actuator, but the actuator he has is for a different turbo. So basically, guys, okay, it's getting all messed up. So Alex sent me the screenshots, and his values were exactly the opposite. So the 4 point whatever volts that we have, so the highest voltage shows actually when the car is running, so when the rod is pulled. When the car is just ignition on, when the rod in this case is full extended, the turbo should be at 0. It should be on the lower voltage. The sensor should be showing 0.8 or 1 point something, whatever. And then when you start the car, you apply vacuum, the rod pulls back, and the value should go up. We are getting exactly the opposite. And he has the same turbo on his car, on this Audi A3. I've asked again, when the Elder came around, he brought me a actuator, which I don't have it with me anymore, but the one he brought me is slightly different. It's for a different turbo, which by the way is the turbo that should be on this car, but we'll get to that in a minute. And I plugged it in just quickly to test, and yes, the other actuator does exactly the same as Alex turbo is doing. So again, it shows the lowest voltage, ignition on, you start the car and voltage goes up. This one there at the moment does exactly the opposite. So why I was saying it was for a different turbo. So the turbo on this car right now is a Garrett. I could try to go and show you the part number, but hold on. Okay, let me do my best, see if I can see the part number there. You can see it's a Garrett in there, and the part number on this looks like 03L253 oh my god, 216T. So 03L. Anyway, it's a Garrett turbo. It doesn't really matter. It's a Garrett turbo. That's the turbo that's in there right now. And what I've done two things. One, I'm going to show you what I've done. So I went to Etka and I put the VIN number of this car, and the turbo for this car, as you can see in there, for the 1.6 diesel CAYC and CAYB, it should be a Borg-Warner turbo. Okay, should be a Borg-Warner turbo. What I've done as well, there's three different part numbers. Is a D, a H, X, and a H. So I think the one in there at the moment is 03L253016, but I think is a T or something like that. Anyway, as you can see in there, it says it's a Borg-Warner. Okay, I've also run, and you can see, I don't know if you can see the actuator. I don't know if you can see there. The picture is actually very accurate because it shows a different actuator. And if you can see this square sort of box at the top, where the Garrett one is a Honeywell actuator, and it doesn't have this square box at the top. Anyway, it should be a Borg-Warner turbo. So what I've done then was I've rung Audi, and this was on Monday morning. Monday morning, I think. I can't remember now. Anyway, I've rung Audi and I've asked them for the price of this turbo for this car. Just curiosity. Just curiosity. The turbo costs £1,295. They do a sort of exchange if you take the old turbo back, and they dropped down the price to £850. The most important thing was I've asked them what is the turbo that, again, I gave them the part number, the VIN number. They looked on a similar system as I did here, although probably more up to date. I've asked them what is the turbo that should be on this car, and straight away from the VIN number the guy said it should be a Borg-Warner turbo. And I've asked him, is the Garrett turbo compatible? And basically what the guy said was, this was just the guy look at the parts, I guess, but what he said to me is they should be, but he said, but obviously for us we would be fitting the correct turbo. We would be fitting a Borg-Warner turbo. We would not tell you to put a Garrett turbo in there. So he said although they should be interchangeable, it's not something I can tell you 100% they are, because I can't tell you to fit the wrong part on the car. So anyway, all of this to say what? All of this to say that this is probably the 10th time I'm trying to record this part, and you always get messed up. All of this to say, guys, that was another test that I've done, which is if I start the car without connecting the vacuum to the turbo, to this faulty sensor, because the voltage will read high all the time. So when I start the car, if there is no vacuum, the voltage is not going to drop because there's no vacuum to the sensor, and the actuator is not going to move, so the voltage will stay high. And if I do that, the fault is not triggered. It doesn't trigger any fault. The car just idles perfect, no problems at all. As soon as I connect the vacuum, 30 seconds later, the code is set on ECU, the glow plug will start flashing and car goes into limp mode. Obviously, if I start the car without plugging the vacuum, I can't touch the accelerator, because if I do, the ECU will try to activate the turbo and it's going to see the values don't change because there is no vacuum, and it's going to set the fault or another fault, doesn't really matter. But if I just start without plugging the vacuum, the car just idles fine for 5, 10, 15 minutes, no problems at all. So just another thing, guys, another little test that you guys can do if you come across this and you want to do some testing. Also on Saturday, and this is why I've lost interest with this thing. On Saturday, I spoke actually with the owner over the phone, and the agreement was that I would be taking this turbo out, and he would be taking the turbo to the guys who changed it, and would either get his money back or would get another turbo. And what I said to him over the phone was that get the correct turbo. So these are the wrong turbo for this car. It should be a Borg Warner. So get a Borg Warner for the turbo, for the car. So if you're going to exchange the turbo, make sure you get the right one. I said as well, or just get the old one, and I will try to see what's wrong with it, or we'll try to fix it. Just in case if it was just an adjustment needed. We don't know at this point. Too late now anyway, but we might could fix it. And then, so this was the agreement on Saturday. And on Saturday I started to take this turbo. So I took the clamp off the DPF. I took some of the bolts on top of the manifold. The ones underneath looks like I might would have to put the car on the ramps and go underneath maybe. It's a little bit tricky to get to the ones underneath the manifold. But anyway, I did a start. Luckily I didn't go too far, because on Monday I got this message. So clearly the guys that changed the turbo, they don't believe there's nothing wrong with this turbo, and they want the car back with the turbo. So I guess they are now willing to take this turbo back and give them the money, or to exchange the turbo. I don't know if that was the conversation the owner had with the guys, but for them to get this message, for him to send me this message, clearly the garage that changed this turbo doesn't believe there's nothing wrong with it, and surely they were not happy to do anything. I'm not criticizing them. I think if it was me, I would prefer to get the car back exactly the way I left it, and try to figure out what's wrong or whatever. Although yes, I know the turbo is not going to go back exactly how it came, because I already moved the actuator on those 3 bolts on the side. I tried to leave everything the way it was, but it is what it is. It's too late now. But if they gonna do a proper diagnostics, they're gonna find out that this turbo is, or this solenoid is bad. And that's it really. So the guy's gonna take the car back, and we're not gonna fix it, but I'm leaving here all the information needed, guys. If you are coming across a problem like this, hopefully I'm leaving all the information you guys need to diagnose it and to fix it if you are willing to. And I think that's gonna be it for this video. I don't think I have anything else for you guys for this car. Obviously the car still has the problem with the temperature sensor, but that will be for whatever to fix it. Obviously if that doesn't get fixed, I think the car is not going to regenerate, because it doesn't have that temperature sensor working, and I think it was the engine light that was on, wasn't it, for that as well. So it might just gonna trigger an engine light. So but I think that's it for this video, guys. So nothing else to say, and I just hope that you enjoyed the video. If you do have any questions, any comments, guys, you know exactly how it works. Just put them below. And like always, thanks for watching.